Hello guys, Gaming Dad 56 here, bringing you today a little bit different video. I want to introduce you to one of my favorite all-time mods, and that is the More Realistic mod. Today I want this to be a quick intro. I want to keep this video really short and just get you guys in the game and a little bit familiar with the mod so you know what to expect. Okay? So, first off, let's find the mod. So, here's what I want you to do. You go to fs-uk.com. This is one of my, this is my favorite forum and also mod downloading site. It's an English forum for Farming Simulator mostly. So if you guys want to join that community, I'll give them a little plug because I think it's an awesome community to join. Once you're there, you can go to forums. You're going to scroll down the page. Okay, you'll find a bunch of different sections. You want to find this section, Farming Simulator Modding and Mod Support, and find the sub-forum, More Realistic Mod. Click on that, and you want to find FS17MR Beta. Click on that. In this first post here by Doral, this is the mod author, you'll see a quick overview of what he's done. And you'll notice directions here. We need two files, MoreRealistic.zip and MoreRealisticGameplay.zip. If you are not familiar with the More Realistic mod at all, what is it? It's a mod that changes the game in a number of different ways to make it more realistic. The biggest part of the More Realistic mod, in my opinion, is the complete overhauling of the physics engine in the game. So the base game physics of Farming Simulator, they're okay, but not really that great. This MoreRealistic.zip is the new physics engine that's going to completely change how you drive equipment in the game. Okay, so just know, if you're looking for something more realistic, if you have a feeling that the tractors and stuff in the game just don't feel like they drive right, they accelerate too quickly, they decelerate too quickly, there's no real effect when you're pulling a large load up a hill, right? Things like that. The More Realistic mod is what you're looking for because it is going to fix those things, okay? More Realistic Gameplay.zip, that's going to be all of the other changes. Crop prices, yields, fertilizer, manure usage, seed usage, all of the other things that go into making the game more realistic is going to be in that second file. You don't have to use both files if you don't want to. You can just use MoreRealistic.zip and get the physics engine. A lot of map makers will change things like crop prices and yields and all that in their maps. So if you have a certain map you like to play and it makes those adjustments, you can leave out the More Realistic Gameplay.zip and just use the MoreRealistic.zip to get the physics engine. So you can do it kind of whichever way you want there. All right. Here's a rundown in this post of what has been converted so far. This is a beta mod at this point, so keep an eye on this and see how it sort of evolves as Doral continues to convert more. We're going to go ahead. The way that you download this is by going to Doral's Google Drive. Okay, so that's where we're going right now. We're going to click on this gameplay folder, and we're going to find the most recent version, which for me is 0.2.04. And we're going to download that. This is the More Realistic Gameplay.zip. Okay? Go back to beta and go to More Realistic. Again, find the most recent version, which when I'm recording this is 0.5.18. We're going to download that. Oh, sorry. Don't do it that way. Actually go in here and download it. There we go. Okay. So now we're downloading both of those files. They should be done in no time. Once you have those files, real simple. Open up your mods folder. Okay. More realistic gameplay. Drag them in. Done. Now my game is set for me to play More Realistic. When you start out, if you are not familiar with the More Realistic mod, let me suggest this. This suggestion comes from Doral, and I echo it 100%. start off with just the More Realistic mod in your mods folder and nothing else. Just like I have it right here. More Realistic gameplay, and that is it in your mods folder. Then go in, play the game that way, and get used to it. Okay, it makes a lot of changes to the game. It's gonna make the game feel like a whole new game to you. So start there. Then once you get used to it, you can go back in and add other mods if you want to play other maps and things like that. So now we're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. But there's one thing I want to show you guys before we get into this game. What I said about adding mods, okay, is very important. Maps and things like that you can usually add without too much issue, but you always have to be worried about mod conflicts anytime you add mods. If we go back into this More Realistic mod, you'll notice two other databases here, or two other pages, forums. MR conversion database and MR conversion support. To convert equipment like tractors and combines and all the implements that go on them to More Realistic, there's actually stuff you have to do. You can't just download a mod, stick it in your mods folder, and have it work with the More Realistic mod. Unfortunately, you have to change some parameters in the XML files of the mod itself. That's where these two forums come in really handy, because they're going to help you walk through that if you want to do it, if you want to try to make that conversion on your own. The conversion database is like a database of stuff that's already been converted. So just keep in mind, if you want to start to add equipment mods, you're going to have to keep that in mind. You're going to have to think, is this mod MR compatible? If not, can I make it that way? Otherwise, when you go into the game and try to use it, it's not going to be a More Realistic tractor or combine or whatever it is. And if you combine a non-More Realistic piece of equipment with a More Realistic piece of equipment, you're going to get some weird results. It's not going to work the way that you intend. So, that said, we've got downloaded what we need. You saw our mods folder. It's only More Realistic and More Realistic gameplay. So now all we need to do is fire up our game. Okay. We get in. We're going to go start a new game. So I'm going to go to a game that I haven't used yet. This one looks good. We hop in here. I'm actually going to put it on easy, and I'm going to show you guys why I'm going to put it on easy. I am not going to spend much time demonstrating stuff for you guys, but I do want you to see a few things. So, here we go. All I got the Big Bud DLC, but all I've got other than that is those two. We select them all, and we hit start. I'm not going to spend a ton of time driving around and showing you all the changes that the More Realistic mod makes, because that's going to turn this video into a really long one. Okay? But I do want to show you a couple of quick things. First off, what I want to show you guys is that when you get in the game initially, it's not going to look different. Okay? Hold on. I don't want all that noise. When you get in initially, it's not going to look that much different. If I hop back in here, you'll look at all the stuff that comes up, the GUI and things. It's not any different. Nothing different there. It's just like the base game. If we hop into our menu here, you'll notice you look through some things. This all pretty much looks the same. Now, I'm on easy, so keep that in mind when you look at these prices. But know that the More Realistic mod does, if you have More Realistic gameplay, it is affecting yields, crop prices, and seeding rates. Okay? So, quickly, let's go to the store. You will no longer, if you guys are familiar with older versions of the More Realistic mod, you'll remember that there was More Realistic equipment, and then there was still the base game equipment that was not More Realistic. You're not going to find that anymore. You go into the store and you find tractors, as long as it's a base game piece of equipment, it's going to be More Realistic. And no longer can you buy, like, I can't go in here and buy a More Realistic Case Puma CVX and a non-More Realistic Case Puma CVX. If I buy it right now, it's going to be More Realistic, period. There's no category for More Realistic anymore. Okay? So keep that in mind. What's going to be really important is it's going to change how you drive equipment. Tractors, you're actually going to need the proper horsepower for the implement that you're pulling, especially if your field has hills in it. Combines are going to work at different speeds based on how the yield of the field is. So higher yielding fields are going to slow you down more because combines are dependent on how much crop is going into this header and into the combine. Higher yields means more crop. Even though this header is not any wider, more crop is going in for every foot you drive forward. And that's going to slow the combine down. If it's a lower yielding field, you'll be able to move faster. So keep that in mind. What do we have in our silos? Good. I want to show you a really good example of how this is going to change the mod. And because I want you guys to be able to hear what I'm saying, we are going to crank the vehicle volume down quite a bit. If you guys can't hear the vehicles anymore, I do apologize. I don't really want you to hear them all that much because I want you to be able to hear what we're talking about in the mod. So we're going to drive this guy over, connect to the trailer first. There we go. And we're going to drive him over. And notice as we go up this hill, all right? It's a little hill, pretty small hill. We can only manage about 14, 15 miles per hour. It really slows us down coming down that hill. As we get to the top, now all of a sudden we're shooting up to 20, 21, 22 miles per hour, right? And we probably could have kept going if I wouldn't have had to slow down for this. That's just with the trailer. Now, let's fill this trailer up. All right, now we got 10,000 liters in here. Notice, even on flat ground, it's taken me longer to get up to speed. Okay? It's just, you can feel the weight of the trailer behind the tractor and it taking a while to get going. We're on flat ground now and only managing 15 miles per hour. If we start to go down this hill, we're going to start to shoot up in speed really quickly. Okay? And if I try to take a turn now at 25 miles per hour, look at the effect that this has. Okay? We tipped over. Shoot. That's not good. All right? So you really have to start to keep some of this stuff in mind as you drive. The physics are going to be much more realistic. You can't take turns at high speeds. You can't, you can't take a tiny little tractor and put a gigantic trailer behind it full of grain and expect to be able to go full speed down the road. Look at that. I don't think I've ever seen a farmer use their combine like that, but that's okay. We'll do it. Why not? All right, so now let's get back in this guy and let's go uphill with the trailer now and see how it's different. So before we were able to manage about 15 miles per hour on this hill going up. Now we're down to 8, 7, 6, 5. 5 miles per hour now with all this stuff in the trailer. So that's just a really good example of how the physics are different with the MoreRealistic mod. Now you're going to have to take into consideration how much horsepower do you have and can you actually pull this implement or this trailer while you're working in a field or while it's full of grain and you have to go uphill. Something to keep in mind. It's very important now. One more thing that is really cool to show. Okay, I've got it set on wheat right now, so we're going to plant some wheat. You'll also notice how I had to hit the brakes to stop there. Let me show you that again. Back up. Because I have a seeder full of seed and fertilizer, look how much I roll when I just let off the gas, especially when I'm going this way downhill. There's no more stopping instantly when you let off the accelerator. You actually have to use the brakes to stop. We'll lower this down and we'll get going. Okay, look how quickly my seed goes down when I'm planting something like wheat. Okay. Are we planting? Yes. So we'll go a full length down the field and we'll see how many liters we end up using. We started at 881. Notice that we're still planting pretty quickly because I've got a tractor that's powerful enough to handle this seeder and I'm going downhill. Okay, so I'm moving along at a pretty good pace. We've already gone through 10 liters. just one pass down the field, we're using 14, 15, 16 liters of seed, okay, to go one pass down the field. Now, let's switch crop types to canola. And let's try this again. So 865 this time is where we're starting at. Notice as we're going up the hill here, we're moving slower. Makes sense, right? We're moving up a hill, still trying to pull an implement through the field. We're still moving at a pretty good pace though, because we've got a fairly powerful tractor. So we're, what, over halfway through the field, and we've only used 1 liter of seed right now. So this is what the More Realistic gameplay folder does. When I talk about seeding rate changes, how quickly do you use up seed for different plant types? Here's a really good example. Canola, you don't use very much seed at all to plant, but wheat, you're going to use a lot more. So we used 15, 16 liters of seed to go down planting wheat, and we used 1 liter of seed to plant canola coming back up. So pretty good demonstration there of some of the changes of the More Realistic mod. If you guys have any questions about the More Realistic mod, this video by no means covered everything that the More Realistic mod does, but my goal with this video was simply to get you guys to a point where you could download it and get playing the game with it and start to enjoy it, because you'll find out all the things that it does as you start to play the game. Okay, I will also make some videos that cover off different really important areas and the differences between base game and More Realistic in certain areas, like with the combines, plowing, cultivating, seeding, and I'll make videos and show you those guys if you want to take a look at those as well. If you have any questions, post in the comments under the video. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, please like, comment, or subscribe. And most of all, guys, enjoy. Farming Simulator is a game. It's meant to be fun. For a lot of people, the More Realistic mod makes it more enjoyable. I hope it will do that for you guys. Give it a try and see if it makes the game feel more realistic to you and increases how much you enjoy playing the game. Until I see you guys next time, Gaming Dad 56, thank you very much for watching.